Hi, everyone. Welcome back to English Podcast Voice. I'm Quinn.
And I'm Riley.
Okay, so I have a confession to make, and I have a feeling a lot of you listening are going to feel this one. I am just exhausted.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I feel like I'm in this constant race against time. I'm always trying to optimize everything. I've got like 5 different productivity apps on my phone. I wake up at 5 a.m. I try to batch my tasks.
You're doing all the things they tell you to do.
Exactly. But my to-do list, it doesn't get shorter. It feels like it's actually getting longer, and I'm busier than ever, but I don't feel like I'm working on the things that, truly matter to me. Does that frantic feeling ever hit you?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of being constantly behind, even when you're technically doing things efficiently, that's like the central problem of modern life, isn't it?
It really is.
And that's exactly why the sources we're deep diving into today are so important. We are looking at summaries of the book 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals, plus some related studies on focus and how our brains perceive time.
Okay, time management for mortals. I love that. It immediately just sets this tone of, realism, maybe even a little bit of dread.
A little bit.
Because the title itself is the hook, right?
Right.
What's the big, scary number we have to deal with today?
So this is the core idea. Life is, well, it's incredibly short, almost insultingly short. The average human lifespan, if you're lucky enough to live to be 80, is roughly 4,000 weeks.
Wow.
That's the big finite number at the center of this whole conversation.
4,000 weeks, that's it. When you say it like that, not in years, but in weeks, it makes you realize your time is this fixed thing, like an inventory you can't restock.
Right, and it puts all this pressure on making the most of it.
For sure.
But the mission of our deep dive today is to kind of free you from that pressure. We're going to explore how we can stop trying to get everything done, which the book basically calls a delusion, and instead focus on finding meaning by actually accepting our limits.
A philosophical reset. That is exactly what I need.
It is. We're going to explain this really powerful idea called the deathbed test, and we'll look at some practical, almost anti-productivity tools for single tasking.
Okay, fantastic. And I also want to make sure we lock in some key vocabulary for everyone listening. We've got 5 amazing terms today.
We do. We're going to unpack 5 key vocabulary terms that will help you talk about these huge ideas with a lot more confidence.
Perfect. So as we get into all this, remember to subscribe to English Podcast Voice and give this deep dive a like. It really helps us out and helps other learners find us.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start with that number, 4,000 weeks. Why does that feel so challenging to us now?
It's just so blunt. I think it highlights this thing where in modern life, we're basically in a state of time denial. We feel busy, but we also sort of feel like we have forever.
Precisely. The modern obsession is trying to master time, right? To treat it like it's a resource we can just manage and optimize perfectly. The idea is that if we're just efficient enough, we can beat the clock.
But that's the trap.
It is. The sources point out that this chase, this relentless pursuit of optimization, actually makes us busier, more anxious, and weirdly less productive on the stuff that matters.
So trying to become this, what does the book call it? Fully optimized, emotionally invincible master of our time.
Yeah.
It's not only impossible, it actually hurts us. It's a chase based on denial.
It's the limit-denying delusion, yes. And to really get why we're so stuck here, it helps to look back in time. The sources contrast our modern clock-driven life with something called task orientation, which was common in, say, medieval times.
Task orientation. I'm guessing that means focusing on the task itself, but what does that actually look like compared to how we live now?
It's a huge difference. I mean, for a medieval farmer, the work was basically infinite. The fields always needed work, something always needed fixing, so their lives were governed by the rhythm of the tasks themselves.
Not by the clock.
Not at all. You worked from sunrise to sunset, and life just emerged organically from the work. They weren't fighting against time, they were just responding to what needed to be done.
So if a task takes 6 hours, it takes 6 hours. You stop when it's done or when the sun goes down. The time is secondary.
Exactly. Clocks were really invented for coordination. To get a bunch of people, like monks or factory workers, to start and stop at the same time. But over time, we started treating time itself like this commodity, something you can divide, sell, and even waste.
And that's when the pressure changed from what needs doing to how much can I cram into this hour?
That's the ultimate irony, isn't it? The tool that was meant to help us coordinate ended up making us feel controlled and constantly behind. The moment we tried to master time, time started mastering us.
Wow.
And the key to freedom, according to this philosophy, is what the author calls a limit-embracing attitude. It just means accepting that your life is short and you can only do a tiny fraction of all the cool things the world offers.
Okay, that's where I get stuck. I mean, I want to have time for everything. The idea of embracing not having time for it all feels like admitting defeat. It sounds a bit depressing, honestly.
And that's a totally normal reaction. Modern culture teaches us that limits are bad, that we should always be pushing past them. But accepting limits is really just accepting the core truth of being human, which is finitude.
Okay, wait. That word, finitude. I've heard it before, but it just sounds so heavy, so academic. I need a clear definition. What does it actually mean in plain English?
Excellent question. So finitude is a noun. It just means the state of having strict limits or boundaries. In this context, it's specifically about our limited time, our limited energy, and the limited number of choices we can actually make.
So it's the opposite of being infinite.
Exactly. It's the opposite of infinity. When we talk about embracing finitude, we're talking about embracing the fact that our time and our choices are limited, and that this limitation is actually what gives life meaning.
The state of having limits. It's a big word for a simple idea. I think I get it. Can you give me some examples? Maybe like one formal, one casual, and then a weird one to see how it's used.
For sure. That's a great way to lock it in. Let's loop through them. First, a formal example. You might hear this in a high-level discussion. The scientist's policy proposal acknowledged the inherent finitude of natural resources on the planet. So there, it's about physical, external limits. Next, a more casual, everyday example. Quote, when I saw the deadline getting closer, I realized the finitude of my evening was a serious issue, so I had to turn off my phone. Here, it's about the boundary of your personal time. And finally, a funny or weird one. My dog eats his food so fast because I think he fears the finitude of the kibble in his bowl.
The finitude of the kibble. I love that. It really shows how it's just about any limited resource. Okay, let's try a quick role play to hear it in a conversation. Okay, so I spent all weekend trying to build a website, write a chapter of my novel, and learn how to knit. I got nothing done, and now I feel totally overwhelmed. I just have so much I want to do.
Well, what you're running into is the necessary and actually joyful reality of finitude. You can't do all the great things. And when you make a conscious choice to focus just on the novel, you're celebrating the finitude of your time, because that difficult choice is what makes the thing you did choose so meaningful.
So instead of seeing finitude as the reason I'm stressed, I should see it as the thing that helps me focus. If I had infinite time, there'd be no urgency to write the novel. It wouldn't mean as much.
You've got it. The limits are the gift. And quickly, let's look at some common word pairings or collocations. You'll often hear people talk about radical finitude, which means like a complete acceptance of limits. You also hear confronting finitude, or what we're talking about, embracing finitude.
Embracing finitude. Okay, when you accept you can't have it all, the choices you do make become more important. That leads us right to the dark side of all this productivity stuff, the efficiency trap.
The trap is where we all get stuck. We might accept we have limits, but then we tell ourselves, okay, but I can beat them by being faster.
I need to understand how this trap works, because I am in it all the time. I feel so productive when I answer 50 emails, but then the reward for that is 50 more emails. What exactly is the efficiency trap?
So the core trick of the efficiency trap is this false belief that if you just get faster or more organized, you'll eventually get everything done. You imagine this like calm future moment when your to-do list is finally empty.
A fantasy
A
moment.
total fantasy, because the systems we live in, work, society, our own ambitions, are functionally infinite. There's always more to do.
So we're using our finite time and energy to fight an infinite problem. It's a game we can't win.
It is. And the trap backfires in two main ways. First, the more efficient you are, the more demands increase. If you clear your inbox in 15 minutes instead of 30, you've just told the world you're available sooner. So people email you back faster, their expectations go up, and the volume just increases to fill that time you saved.
It's like a vacuum. Time hates a vacuum, so it just fills it with more stuff.
Exactly. And second, the trap pushes us toward shallow work. When your only goal is to be efficient, you start focusing on tasks that are easy to measure and quick to finish.
Like deleting emails or scheduling things.
Right. Instead of the difficult, deep, meaningful work that takes real focus, we get really good at managing the unimportant stuff because it gives us that quick hit of feeling productive.
So efficiency helps me clear my plate faster, but it doesn't help me decide if the food on the plate was even worth eating. I'm just eating junk food, but at high speed.
That's a perfect analogy. The goal isn't just to do X amount of work in high hours. It's to consciously decide what work is worth doing in your 4,000 weeks.
And once you realize you're going to miss out on most things anyway, you can actually relax and enjoy the few things you did choose. And this connects to that idea of finding joy in missing out, right?
Yes, the philosophical answer is JOMO, the joy of missing out. The philosopher Martin Heidegger said that our limited lifespan is what forces us to choose, and every choice we make automatically rules out countless other options.
Which feels painful, like FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Right, but Heidegger argued that the act of rejecting those other paths is what makes your chosen path meaningful.
So the meaning isn't just in the thing I chose, it's created by all the things I said no to. I chose this deep work instead of checking my phone, instead of answering those emails. The rejection gives it value.
It does. If you had infinite choices, no single choice would mean anything. Okay, so now that we get the psychology, let's nail down the language. What's the official definition of the efficiency trap? The efficiency trap is the false belief that by increasing your speed or productivity, you'll eventually get everything done and be free. In reality, being more efficient just causes demands to rise, leading to more work, and it's usually lower value work.
That is an exhausting definition. Let's make sure our listeners can use this phrase. Give me those 3 examples.
You got it. Here's a formal one from a business context. The company realized that implementing faster software only led to higher demand from clients, illustrating the classic efficiency trap. Here's a casual, super relatable one. I bought a bigger washing machine to save time, but now I just have more clothes to wash and fold. It was the efficiency trap. And here's a funny one. I tried to speed read all the world's self-help books, only to realize I was caught in the ultimate efficiency trap of trying to find a shortcut to wisdom.
Oh, the washing machine one is so true. Every time-saving gadget seems to add a new task. Okay, let's do a quick role-play skit. I'm going to try to be super efficient. Okay, watch this. I'm going to make coffee, answer 3 emails, and plan my workout for the week, all in the next 5 minutes. I can do it all. Frantic sounds... Wait, did I put coffee grounds in the machine? Uh-oh.
See? You were so focused on being fast that you skipped the most important step. Now you have no coffee, you still have 3 emails to answer, and you just wasted 5 minutes creating more stress. You were focused on speed instead of the task itself, and you got caught in the efficiency trap.
Ugh. The effort of optimizing totally backfired. It just made more work.
And the collocations here really reflect that struggle. You hear people say they're caught in the trap, they fall into the trap, or that they're trying to avoid the trap.
This is great. We've learned to embrace our finitude, and we've identified the enemy, the efficiency trap. So now, what about the practical stuff? How do we actually start doing this?
We turn to the anti-productivity tool set. And the first big shift is moving away from the myth of multitasking and toward the power of single tasking.
I need to hear the science on this again. I mean, culture still tells us that being a great multitasker is a good thing. What does the research actually say?
The research is just brutal on the whole idea. The evidence shows that trying to do complex tasks at the same time is, well, it's just ineffective. The sources cite studies showing it can slash your productivity by about 40%.
40%. That's a huge penalty just for trying to do 2 things at once. We think we're saving time, but we're throwing away almost half our effectiveness.
That's right. And the reason is something called task switching. Your brain can't actually do 2 complex things, like write an important email and listen to a meeting at the exact same time. It just jumps back and forth between them really fast.
And every time it jumps, there's a cost.
A huge cost. It's like your brain has to reload the context for that task every single time. And the sources point to a specific finding. It can take about 15 minutes to get back to that same level of deep focus after you've been distracted.
15 minutes? That's terrifying. If I check my phone for a quick text while I'm doing deep work, I haven't just lost 30 seconds. I've lost 15 minutes of focus.
It's a 15-minute tax on your attention. And if you do that 4 times in an hour, you've basically lost the whole hour.
So multitasking isn't a skill. It's just a bad habit that makes us way less effective. Okay, let's get the official definition so we can all stop saying we're proud multitaskers.
So multitasking is formally defined as the attempt to do 2 or more cognitive tasks with different goals at the same time. This forces the brain into rapid, inefficient task switching, which leads to major time loss, more errors, and just a general decline in focus.
That's a great definition. It separates complex tasks from automatic ones, like, walking and talking. Okay, give me those 3 examples.
Okay, a formal one from a safety context. Research proves that multitasking while driving, like texting, significantly increases the risk of accidents. a casual one. I tried multitasking my workout with watching a movie, and I ended up doing a bad workout and not remembering the plot of the movie.
Or,
And a funny one, I thought I was multitasking by singing and eating soup at the same time, but I just ended up choking on a carrot.
okay, another brilliant mental image. Let's do a quick skit on this one.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. I'm just trying to have this serious conversation with you while also writing this very important email and
Yeah.
drinking my coffee. So, as I was saying, the quarterly report is due on... Wait, did I just type "I love coffee" into the email?
Yes, you did. And you also just spilled that coffee on your keyboard. Your brain was trying to hold three different goals at once: the conversation, the email, the drinking, and the inevitable result of multitasking is that they all fail in a hilarious and slightly messy way.
Failure, distraction, and a mess. Got it. No more multitasking.
And for collocations, you usually hear people talk about how they stopped multitasking or they discuss the myth of multitasking.
Okay, so if we stop that bad habit, how do we know where to put our new focused attention? We need to figure out where all our time is actually going.
And that's why the first practical tool in the set is keeping a time log.
A time log.
Yeah. Most of us feel overwhelmed because we're just going on a feeling of being busy, not the reality of it. The sources tell this story about a manager, Sarah, who felt she was always behind. She kept a time log for a week and was shocked to discover she wasted 2 full hours every single day in useless meetings.
The shock of reality. That's the key. We kind of know we waste time, but we have no idea how much.
Exactly. The whole purpose of the time log is radical awareness. It's a structured way to record what you're doing and for how long, so you can find those hidden time wasters. You can't choose what to focus on if you don't even know where your time is going now.
I feel like I need to do this immediately. But I've heard time log in regular productivity advice. Is it just a diary? What makes it special in this context?
That's a good distinction. A time log isn't just a journal. It's a structured record of how you spend your time, usually in 15 or 30-minute blocks, and its purpose is analytical, to see where your effort is going, how much time you spend on shallow versus deep work, and to get better at estimating how long things will take in the future.
So it's for analysis and future planning. Got it. Give me those 3 examples.
Okay, formal example. The accounting department used a detailed time log to bill clients accurately for consulting hours. So, it's for business accuracy. A casual example. Keeping a time log for 1 week showed me I spent 70% of my time on things that weren't important to me. Used for personal revelation. And a funny one. My cat keeps a time log of how long I spend petting him versus how long I spend looking at my phone. I am not doing well. The log reveals uncomfortable truths.
I think my cat does that too. Okay, let's role play this. I'm going to complain about having no time. Ugh, I just never have any time to work on my passion project. I work all day, and my evenings are just gone. There's no time.
Let me just check your imaginary time log here on my phone. Yes. It says here that last night, between 7 and 9 p.m., you spent 45 minutes on researching the best kind of houseplant for a low-light room, and an hour on watching videos of squirrels completing obstacle courses.
Hey, that was that was important research.
It may have been interesting, but your time log shows exactly where your passion project time went. It doesn't judge, it just records the truth about your priorities.
Ouch. That is painfully accurate. Okay, I'm convinced.
And for collocations, people talk about keeping a time log, reviewing a time log, or tracking hours in a time log.
So once we know where our time is going, the next step is planning more realistically.
Yeah.
And the sources mention this thing called Hofstadter's law.
Oh, yeah.
It says tasks always take longer than you expect, even when you know that tasks always take longer than you expect. It's like a mental trap you can't escape.
It's the ultimate cognitive bias. We are just wired for optimism when we plan. We imagine the perfect day where nothing goes wrong. And that is why the second practical tool is so important. Building buffers.
Building buffers. I really need to stop packing my schedule so tightly. Are these like safety nets for your day?
That's a great way to think of it. They're just extra unscheduled time that you add to absorb the inevitable delays and interruptions. When you schedule things back to back, a single 5-minute delay can make your whole day fall apart like dominoes.
And the stress from that is just immense. So what are the specific strategies for building these buffers?
The sources detail 4 really powerful types. First is the calendar buffer. This just means you stop scheduling things back to back. You schedule, say, a 45-minute block of focus, and then you leave 15 minutes of white space before the next thing.
Okay, a cushion.
Exactly. Second is the task buffer. This is about estimation. If you think a report will take an hour, you schedule 90 minutes for it. The idea is to be intentionally pessimistic. Third, the milestone buffer. For big projects, you set your own internal deadlines that are way ahead of the real final deadline. This absorbs any delays along the way. And finally, the most important one, the unknowns buffer. This is where you just add a block of time, maybe 20 to 30% for the completely unpredictable stuff, the tech problems, the family emergencies, the things you can't even imagine.
20 to 30% for the unknown. That feels almost lazy, but if I'm being honest, that's probably exactly how much time gets eaten up by random interruptions.
It's not about being lazy, it's about being realistic and reducing stress.
Let's get the definition clear. What precisely are time buffers?
Time buffers are extra, unscheduled periods of time that are intentionally built into a plan or schedule. They act like shock absorbers for unexpected delays, interruptions, or rework, which gives you flexibility and reduces the stress of being constantly behind.
Insurance against reality. I love it. Let's do the 3 examples.
Okay, formal. The project manager included a time buffer of 2 days before the hard deadline to manage any unforeseen issues. Casual. I always leave a time buffer of 30 minutes before my appointments because the city traffic is so unpredictable. And a funny one, my cooking show requires a 5-minute time buffer in every episode just for dramatic pauses and staring at the camera.
The dramatic pause buffer.
Okay.
Okay, skit time. Watch my day collapse without a buffer.
Oh.
Oh no. My 9 a.m. meeting ran 15 minutes late, and now I only have 5 minutes to get to my 10 a.m. appointment across town. I'm going to be late, I'm going to be stressed, my whole day is ruined.
See, if you had scheduled a time buffer of, say, 30 minutes between those two things, that 15-minute delay wouldn't have mattered at all. You would have absorbed it and still arrived calmly and on time. A time buffer is what keeps a small problem from turning into a big disaster.
You're right. I was planning for a perfect world, which is just another form of time denial. Buffers are mandatory from now on.
And to wrap this one up, the collocations are active. You build time buffers, leave time buffers, or schedule time buffers.
Okay, we've covered the philosophy, the trap, and the tools. Let's zoom out to the big question. Why are we doing any of this? It's all about living a meaningful life in our 4,000 weeks.
Exactly. And to do that, we have to reframe what we're actually chasing. We need to shift our focus from financial wealth to time wealth.
Time wealth. I get that intuitively, but what does it really mean?
Time wealth just means having meaningful control over your schedule. It's about spending your time how you choose to, not how other people or demands dictate. Our society celebrates financial wealth, the big house, the fancy car. But after a certain point, more money doesn't really make you happier day to day.
Right, I've heard about that research from economists like Kahneman and Deaton.
Yes. Their work showed that once your basic needs are met and you have a certain level of comfort, earning more money does very little to improve your daily emotional well-being.
So the benefit of that extra money just fades away.
And that's where the trade-off gets really sad. That high-paying job that demands 80 hours a week, you're sacrificing your finite time for extra money that won't actually bring you more happiness. You become time poor.
So the real measure of being rich isn't just your bank account. It's how much freedom you have over your time. How do you start getting time wealth?
It's about consciously using the money you have to buy back time, not just to buy more stuff.
Okay, give me some examples of buying back time.
Well, think about what eats up your time and causes stress. Chores, commuting. Buying back time could mean paying for a cleaning service or outsourcing your yard work. It could mean paying a little more to live closer to your job to cut down your commute. It's about seeing time as the more precious resource because you can always make more money, but you can never get back your time.
That is a huge shift in thinking. Using money to gain control over that 4,000-week inventory. And when we're facing those huge life decisions, how do we know if it's the right choice for our finite life?
We use the most powerful tool in the whole book, the deathbed test.
The deathbed test. Sounds intense. How does it work?
It's simple, but it's tough. You imagine you're at the very end of your life looking back, and you ask yourself about a decision you're facing right now. What will my future dying self think of this choice?
Wow. Okay, so if I apply that right now, my dying self will not care that I answered a few extra emails on a weekend. My dying self will care that I missed my friend's wedding for that work.
That is exactly how it works. It instantly shifts your focus from what feels urgent now to what will be truly important in the long run. The dying self almost never regrets small details about work or money. They regret lost opportunities and missed experiences with people they love.
It forces you to see what's truly important.
And that brings us to how we should spend the time we do reclaim. We have to think about leisure differently.
Right. If everything we do is just a means to an end, a tool for some future goal, Then the present moment loses all its meaning. Even our hobbies become chores.
They become instrumentalized, yeah. We say, I'm learning this skill for my resume, or I'm doing this workout for my health. And those are good things, but when every activity is just for a future benefit, you never actually live in the present.
So the book says we need activities that have no purpose at all.
Precisely. It stresses the need for atelic activities.
Atelic. Okay, another great word. What does that mean?
So the Greek word telos means end goal. So an atelic activity is one that is, by definition, purposeless. Its value comes entirely from the experience of doing it, not from any future benefit or personal growth.
Can you give some examples?
Think about just sitting and listening to music without analyzing it, or going for a walk in the woods with no destination, or just playing with a pet. The value is entirely in the moment itself. It's like the old concept of the Sabbath a day that's designed to be economically wasteful because its only purpose is rest and contemplation.
That is so freeing. It gives you permission to just be without always trying to get better.
If you only see your time as an investment for a future self, you'll never actually inhabit your present self. You have to spend some of your time wastefully just for the joy of it.
That's a huge shift. And what's the final, really radical idea the author gives us to break free from all this pressure?
It's a concept he calls cosmic insignificance therapy.
Cosmic insignificance therapy. That sounds both really harsh and weirdly comforting.
It's blunt, but it's incredibly liberating. The sources basically say this: what you do with your life doesn't matter all that much, and when it comes to how you're using your time, the universe absolutely could not care less.
Okay, wait, I have to push back on that a little.
Mm.
If nothing I do matters, why should I even bother trying to do meaningful things? Isn't that just nihilism?
That's a totally fair question. The point isn't to make you stop trying. The point is to free you from the impossible burden of thinking you have to change the world or achieve some grand universal purpose.
So I'm free from the pressure to be like a historical figure or a perfect human being.
Exactly. You're free from judging yourself by a standard that the universe proves is irrelevant. And if your failures aren't cosmic disasters, then you're free to focus on the few things that matter intensely to you, right here, right now, with the people you love. You stop worrying about your legacy and just get on with living your small, wonderful, local life.
That is a powerful way to end the anxiety we started with. We accept we can't master time, we accept we won't get everything done, and in that acceptance, we find freedom.
You're ready to live your 4,000 weeks.
It's amazing. Okay, before we do our quiz, let's hit a common mistake intermediate learners make when they talk about these things.
Let's do it.
So I often hear people struggle with abstract nouns like time and work. So, for example, would I say, I have to finish all work today, or based on this philosophy, I will have more time next week. Is that right?
That's a great one to focus on because it hits on grammar and the philosophy. Grammatically, native speakers would usually say, all my work, or all the work. Just saying all work sounds like you're trying to finish every job in the entire world.
Which is impossible. Got it.
Yeah.
What about, I will have more time next week?
Well, philosophically, that's the time denial trap again. It assumes time is just this thing that will be waiting for you. But we know from the efficiency trap that new demands will always fill that space.
So how would a native speaker say it in a way that respects finitude?
Instead of that passive certainty, a native speaker would phrase it as an active choice. They'd say something like, I'm going to prioritize my time differently next week, or I will try to protect my time for that project next week. It shows you have agency, but you're working within limits.
That's a subtle but really powerful shift from passive hope to active choice. Great tip.
All right, are you ready for the quiz we promised at the very beginning?
The pop quiz. Yes, I am ready.
Okay, listeners, you can play along too. Question 1. If you accept that your life has limits and boundaries, you are embracing your fun.
You are embracing your finitude.
Perfect. Finitude. Question 2. What's the time management tool where you intentionally schedule extra, unscheduled time to handle unexpected delays?
That would be building in time buffers.
Yes. And last question. What is the false belief that being faster will eventually clear your to-do list when really it just creates more demands?
That is the soul-crushing efficiency trap.
You nailed it. You are officially ready to reject impossible productivity. Okay, so to quickly summarize our 3 most important words for today. Finitude, the state of having limits. The efficiency trap, the lie that speed creates freedom. And the time log, the tool you use to see where your time really goes.
What an incredible deep dive. It's so
Hey.
comforting to realize the problem isn't that we're bad at productivity, it's that we're chasing an impossible goal.
The challenge isn't to be more efficient. It's to have the courage to choose what to neglect.
So for our micro challenge today, I want you to try the deathbed test. Take 10 minutes tonight and think about one thing you would deeply regret if you kept putting it off. Then, in the comments below, use one of our new words like finitude or time buffer to describe how you'll make time for it this week.
That is a powerful challenge. And remember, if you want to review all of today's ideas, you can download the free summary PDF. The link is right there in the description.
Thank you all so much for joining us on this deep dive into our very short, very precious 4,000 weeks.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to English Podcast Voice.
I'm Quinn. See you next time.
And I'm Riley. Bye.